You're watching Bet Rivers Pro Football Weekly on the Bet Rivers Network.
Welcome one and all to the latest edition of Bet Rivers Pro Football Weekly, along with two-time Super Bowl champion Brandon Stokley. I'm Adam the Bull, and we got a lot to get to today. It's week number 13 in the National Football League. A lot of good games on the docket this week. Brandon, how are you?
Doing great. Yeah, I mean, it's winding down every week, closer to the playoffs. So, you know, these games, they just matter a little bit more.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. It's obviously Thanksgiving week. We were talking, and you've played on Thanksgiving week before, and you enjoyed it, which is really cool. And, you know, obviously the show's coming on after Thanksgiving, but it is Thanksgiving week. It's the holiday spirit. A lot of Christmas decorations going up now, the lights going up now, so it's a fun time of the year. Neither one of us picked this game, so we won't get into the game, but I'm curious, did you get a chance to watch Shedeur Sanders' first start? And if you did, what did you think of how he performed?
I did. I watched it, a little bit of it at the time, and I went back on Monday and rewatched every snap of what he did. And, first and foremost, I thought he looked calm. The moment wasn't too big for him, which I thought was important. You saw him getting in and out of the huddle. The order of operations was clean, motioning guys, all that looked good, right? And the play down to Isaiah Bond, I think it was to the 2-yard line. I mean, that was a special play. They had a free rusher coming off the right side. He realized that, got out of the pocket, and made a perfect throw. Now, they didn't ask him to do a ton. A lot of short underneath passes, and their defense was unbelievable. And you played the Raiders, who the Raiders are a bad football team right now. But for his first start, he hit it out of the park. He did great if you're a Cleveland fan. I mean, that's what you were looking for, especially after what you saw when he came in relief against the Ravens when it looked really, really bad. So, you're optimistic, I think, if you're a Shedeur Sanders and a Cleveland fan right now.
All right, I think the fans are going to like to hear that. All right, let's get into it. The games we like this week, and let's start with a game you like. You're speaking of Colorado, your Denver Broncos are in Washington this week. The Broncos are a 6-point favorite, and you like them to cover.
I do. They're coming off a bye. They're getting healthy. I think they're a football team on a mission. Washington's also coming off a bye, but I think they're a little bit different situation. I think they just felt what it feels like to have some time off, and they're already packing their bags, and they're thinking about the end of the season and where they're going for their first vacation in early January. So I think it's two totally different situations. I think one team's going to be checked out, one team's going to be all in, and I think the Broncos and their defense roll the Commanders.
What do you make of the Broncos' running game right now? I'm surprised R.J. Harvey is it him? Like, did they make a mistake with him, or are they just not? Has he just not found it yet?
Yeah, it's a good question. It was J.K. Dobbins, and he was doing a really, really good job. For a while there, he's top four or five in the league rushing, and he got hurt. He's out for the year. So, now it's time for J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey, their second-round pick out of Central Florida. Give him some more opportunities. Sometimes I think as a young running back, it's kind of difficult when you're not getting a lot of opportunities. Every one, you're trying to make it a home run. So now that hopefully he gets more opportunities and maybe the game slows down for him a little bit, we'll see the best of him. He's done a good job in the passing game. I'd like to see a little bit more from the running game.
All right, we just talked about the Raiders a little bit ago and how awful they are, so I'll go with my first pick there. I'm taking the Chargers. Now, I know the Chargers were awful last week, too. That was a weird game. They got just absolutely demolished. But outside of that, they played, pretty well here for the most part. And the Raiders are they're next level bad. Them and the Titans, probably the Jets, Saints. Those teams make the Browns look decent. So I'll pick against those teams as much as possible. And the Chargers are at home. I know it's 8.5. It's a lot of points, but they played so poorly last week. I expect them to bounce back. And the Raiders are their offensive line is so horrible. Their defense stinks. You got Gentry, you got Bowers, but not much else on that Raider team. So I'll take the Chargers to win by double digits.
Yeah, and I think I picked them last week against you. You had Cleveland. I had the Raiders. I can't believe I picked the Raiders. Never again. So, if I'm doing anything on this game, I'm with you on that. I'd take the Chargers.
Well, I got to admit that I thought the Raiders would be a surprise good team this year, and I was way wrong about that. But I jumped off the bandwagon a while ago. All right, game number 2. Here's a pick I was going to take also, but since you picked it, I went with another game. But I'm kind of with you on this. You like Seattle big at home against Minnesota, and it looks like Max Brosmer, who I'll be honest, I never heard of him before this week. It might be the starter for Minnesota.
Yeah, I haven't either. So welcome to the 12th man. Welcome to Seattle.
Yeah.
And that defense and that place is going to be rocking. Sam Darnold's been unbelievable. Yeah, I know Minnesota's defense is pretty good, but they're in a bad situation over there. They're watching the guy they should have kept in Sam Darnold. And now they're in a tough quarterback situation, and that's a tough place to play. Give me the Seahawks big.
Yeah. By the way, Brosmer, who is a rookie, undrafted this year, he played 5 years at, we used to call it, of course, 1AA New Hampshire. Now it's FCS, right? And then he did play in Minnesota this past season. So he was a Golden Gopher and had a high completion percentage. But, to make your first start in Seattle, for an undrafted free agent, good luck with that. So Seattle's a good pick here.
Yeah, I would if I was him,
yeah,
I would throw it to Justin Jefferson 90% of the time. It doesn't matter what they're playing. And the other 10% I'm throwing at Addison and Hawkinson. That's all you're doing is just throw the ball to Justin Jefferson and just keep your fingers crossed, and hopefully you get lucky and keep the game close.
That's right. All right, game number 2 for me, there's a theme developing. I picked against the Raiders. Now I'm going to pick against the Titans. They're another team that's absolutely dreadful, especially on offense. They cannot score at all. Their running game is non-existent. Their passing game is non-existent. I know the Jags aren't great, but I think everybody's sleeping on them a little bit. Like, they're a decent team. Again, are they going to win a Super Bowl? No, but they're a competitive team, and the Titans are just awful. So I know it's on the road, and the Titans have kept their last 2 games. Well, they were down big to Seattle, and Seattle let them, backdoor cover. But the Jags are not good enough to do. I don't know. I just think the Titans are going to have a real hard time scoring, and so I'd like the Jaguars to win by a touchdown or more.
I think you're spot on with the Jags. No one's respecting the Jags at all.
No.
They had Houston whipped a few weeks ago. They let them off the hook and blew that game. And then they took it to the Chargers. So, look, this is a team I think that you need to put a little bit more respect on. No one's kind of looking at them. You're talking about the Colts and their great start, and Houston, they're kind of getting things going, though. But I'm with you. Put some more respect on the Jags.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, let's get to your third game. This is a battle of 2 teams not going to the playoffs. It's the Falcons and the Jets. The game's at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. And even though the Falcons aren't great, they're definitely better than the Jets. And they're laying 2.5 on the road. How come the Falcons in this one?
I took the Falcons last week against the Saints, so that one won for me. I'm gonna go with it again. I think they're both teams are not very good, like you said, but I think the Jets are worse. And the Jets, made some trades before the trade deadline. I don't know, Garrett Wilson, he's not playing. What do you have there? Who's the quarterback? Is it Tyrod? Is it Justin Fields? What do we got going on there with the Jets? So, hey, give me Kirk Cousins, give me Bijan, and the Falcons.
All right, I like that one too. I'm with you on that one also. All right, next pick for me. Continuing my theme of betting against bad teams, I'll take the Dolphins against the Saints. You bet against the Saints last week. The Dolphins, who looked like they were one of the worst teams, have played a lot better the last few weeks. The Saints are hideous. Like the Titans and like the Raiders, they can't score. They are completely inept offensively. And the Dolphins are at home. Again, they're playing much better. The Dolphins are not very good, even though they're playing better. So, maybe people – but Devon Achane, under the radar, is one of the best backs in the league. He's actually stayed healthy this year. I'm feeding him often, and he's yards per carry. He can bust an 80-yard run at any time. So I think they'll be run heavy. I think he'll have 150 yards on the ground, maybe 200 total yards, huge game. And I think the Dolphins win 20-3. I think that the Saints are just hideous.
Yeah, A-Chain's been great. And the Dolphins have been a little bit more competent. You know, you look up, they've won a couple of games here in a row, I believe. And so it's like,
you got the Dolphins also. That's right.
They haven't quit, right? I mean, they haven't quit on their coach. And when things were looking bad, they weren't playing good. A lot of, what's going on with Tua? Why is he calling out the team? And that team could have packed it in. They could have quit very easily. So give that coaching staff a lot of credit for keeping that team playing. And I'm with you on that one. Give me the Dolphins.
Yeah, it's funny. That around that time they played the Browns, and obviously the Browns have been terrible, except for this past week. And the Browns killed the Dolphins. They beat them 31-6. And I thought they were, as you said, I thought the Dolphins were about to completely collapse. Well, since then, they beat the Falcons 34-10. They did get smoked by the Ravens, but then they crushed the Bills, and then they beat the Commanders. So after starting 1-6, they've gone 3-1 in their last 4. And listen, you never know. Their schedule's not that tough the rest of the way. I guess crazier things have happened in an open AFC.
Might save the coach's job.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. Okay, last game for me, and finally I go away from betting against bad teams. I'm actually betting against a good team in this case. So the Texans and Colts is always a lot of fun. It's a good rivalry. C.J. Stroud is expected to play this week for the first time in a while. Now, obviously, he's not been as good since his rookie season, but he's still good. I think people have turned it into he stinks. He doesn't stink. He's just not been as good as his rookie year. He's still a solid quarterback. He's certainly much better than, what's his name, Davis Mills. And, even though they're on the road, the Texans are right there with the Browns, the Seahawks, the Rams, as one of the best Broncos, one of the best defensive teams in football. They keep it close. They have not lost by more than 8 points all season. And, in fact, they've only lost by more than 4 twice. They've either won or lost by 4 or less. So they're in every game. Again, the Colts have been awesome. Their offense is great. I'm still not a believer in Daniel Jones, so I don't think he's going to have a huge game against against an excellent defense. The Colts might win, especially at home, but this totally feels like a field goal game one way or the other. And so I'll take the Texans plus 4.5.
Yeah, close divisional football game. You're talking about a great defense there with the Texans. So Colts coming off of a tough loss. How do they respond to that? Last week against the Chiefs, they should have won that football game. Up 11 with 9 minutes left. They just gave that football game away. How do they respond to that loss? And they're going up against a great defense, and C.J. Stroud's returning. So that should be a really good one. I'm with you. I think that's a close football game. Yeah.
Stroud, by the way, practicing today was cleared from concussion protocol after a few weeks out. By the way, a friend I was watching last week. I'm watching the Browns and the Raiders with a friend. And he's like, at the time the Chiefs were losing 20-9, I think it was, to the Colts. And he's like, dude, if the Chiefs lose this game, they're not going to make the playoffs. And I don't believe in jinxes. I'm not one of those guys. I don't know if you are. But I'm like, dude, they're going to come back and win this game, I'm telling you. And don't count out the Chiefs until they're out, ever.
Yes, exactly.
And, of course, they came back and won. So I don't believe in jinxes, but maybe there is such a thing. I don't know, but the Chiefs
they're going to have to win 5 out of 6 here down the stretch. I think they have to get to 11 wins. I think if they get to 10, they're going to lose some tiebreakers. They already lost to the Bills. They already lost to Jacksonville. So there's some teams there that they're going to have to down the stretch here get hot. So that was a big win for them, though.
Yeah, they needed it. They were in big trouble if they lost, but I have a hard time putting away the Chiefs until it's official. All right, thanks everybody for joining us today. Hopefully we'll make you a big winner at Bet Rivers. Thanks to Tim and Alex for producing the show. For 2-time Super Bowl champion Brandon Stokley, I'm Adam the Bull. We'll talk to you next time on Bet Rivers Pro Football Weekly.
Thanks for watching Bet Rivers Pro Football Weekly on the Bet Rivers Network.